My mommy at the hospital.
New at noon, a family asking for your help after the murder of a young mother.
She was shot and killed in Southwest Miami-Dade last month. Her 3-year-old daughter also grazed by a bullet.
Really? Another day in the office.
What man in his right mind would chase a woman with a baby to murder her?
That's $10,000 he's counting. $10,000 in pandemic relief money. PPP loan funds that were supposed to help struggling businesses survive COVID. You know what makes me sick? Some of you watching probably applied for PPP loans. Maybe you got denied. Maybe you were told there wasn't enough funding. Maybe you're still paying yours back. Meanwhile, Jasmine Martinez got approved for $15,000 in days. Money meant to save businesses. Money that could have kept someone's restaurant open, could have saved jobs, could have kept families in their homes. She withdrew 10 grand in cash and handed it to a man fresh out of prison to kill another woman. Over what? A man who wasn't even with her anymore. A man who was already locked up. The ghetto. Now, before I tell you exactly how this woman orchestrated a murder with government money, you need to understand who she wanted dead. Because Lashanti Jones? She wasn't some criminal. She wasn't running the streets. She was a 24-year-old single mom who made one fatal mistake. She dated the wrong woman's ex. Lashanti was one of those women you probably know. The type who started at Walmart. And I'm not knocking Walmart workers, but we all know that's not where you want to stay forever. She had bigger plans. So she applied to TSA, got the job, put on that uniform, and went to Miami International Airport every single day to deal with people at their absolute worst. You know what TSA agents go through, right? 8 hours of, "Sir, you can't bring that," and "Ma'am, the laptop comes out of the bag," while people cuss you out because they didn't read the rules. That was Lashanti's daily grind. But she did it. Why? For Elijah, her 3-year-old daughter, born in July 2017. And if you're doing the math, yes, Lashanti was raising this baby alone. No co-parenting checks, no every other weekend breaks. Just her working federal security, coming home exhausted, and still having to be mommy. The kind of mommy who picks you up from auntie's house even when she's dead tired. The kind who still reads bedtime stories after standing for 8 hours straight. The kind who was building something better, brick by brick, paycheck by paycheck. But here's where Lashanti's story takes a turn. Years before, we're talking 2016, she had dated someone. Normal relationship, probably didn't even last that long. But that man, he had an ex-girlfriend who couldn't let go. Jasmine Martinez. Now, Jasmine wasn't just any ex-girlfriend. She was the type who couldn't accept that her man had moved on. You know the type. Checks his Instagram 20 times a day, drives by his mama's house, asks mutual friends about him. Except Jasmine took it to a whole other level. 2016. First time Jasmine put hands on Lashanti. Why? Because Lashanti had dated her ex. Mind you, EX. As in, no longer together. As in, he's free to date whoever he wants. But in Jasmine's mind, that was her man forever. That case got dropped. Maybe Lashanti was trying to be the bigger person. Maybe she thought it would blow over. It didn't. 2018, Jasmine caught another charge for beating on Lashanti again. 2 years later, and this woman was still pressed about a man who had clearly moved on. But this time, something else happened. Lashanti was supposed to testify about the assault. And where does she get attacked? In the courthouse parking lot. by two men. One of them, Kelly Nelson, Jasmine's new boyfriend. You're following this? Jasmine got a new man, but was so bothered by the woman who used to date her ex that she had her current boyfriend attack her. And not just attack. They robbed Lashanti at gunpoint, at the courthouse, where she was trying to get justice. The level of audacity. Kelly Nelson got locked up for this. He's sitting in jail, and you'd think that would be the end of it, right? Lashanti could finally breathe? Wrong. Because in 2021, they started trying to bribe her, offering her money to lie, to say Kelly didn't have a gun, to help get him out. Lashanti said no, she wasn't for sale. And on April 9th, 2021, Lashanti did something that sealed her fate. She testified. Not just about the assault, not just about the courthouse robbery. She testified about the witness tampering, about how Jasmine tried to bribe her, threatened her, wanted her to lie. That testimony, that's what got her killed. Not the old dating situation from 5 years ago. Not the old beef. It was standing up in court and refusing to be silenced. It was having the audacity to tell the truth. 11 days later, Jasmine got approved for that PPP loan. 24 days after that testimony, Lashanti was dead. May 3rd, 2021. Monday evening. Lashanti had just finished another shift at MIA. Another day of keeping air travel safe. She picks up Elijah from her sister's place. Probably gave her sister that tired smile working mums know so well. Thanks for watching her. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow never came. She pulls into the Coral Bay Cove apartments. It's still daylight. Kids playing outside. People getting home from work. Normal Monday evening in Southwest Miami-Dade. Lashanti parks. Gets Elijah out of her car seat. Probably had her hands full. You know how it is. Purse, work bag. Toddler who wants to walk, but also wants to be carried. They're heading to their apartment. Almost home. A dark grey Nissan Sentra pulls up.
What man in his right mind would chase a woman with a baby to murder her?
What happened next happened fast. A man in dark clothing, a gun. Lashanti trying to run, trying to protect her baby. But where do you run when you're carrying a 3-year-old? How fast can you move when your first instinct is to shield your child?
It was May 3rd. Jones was getting home from her TSA job at Miami International Airport. She had her 3-year-old daughter in her arms. That's when she was gunned down just steps away from her front door. Jones died on the scene. Her daughter also grazed by a bullet.
Grazed. That's a clean word for something ugly. The killer drove off. Left Lashanti at the foot of a staircase. Left a baby crying over her mother's body. Left a crime scene in broad daylight, like it was nothing. The community was shook. This wasn't some middle-of-the-night drug deal gone wrong. This was a working mother, a federal employee, gunned down at dinner time, with her baby right there.
My baby had a future. Somebody took from her. I did the best with my children as a single mom, and I did a wonderful job.
The detectives started asking the obvious questions. Who would want Lashanti dead? She worked TSA. Maybe she caught somebody trying to smuggle something. Maybe it was work-related. But then they started looking at Lashanti's history. The assault charges she'd filed. The courthouse attack. The testimony she'd just given. And one name kept coming up. Jasmine Martinez. Except there was a problem. Where's the connection between Jasmine and a masked gunman in a Nissan? How does a beauty salon owner orchestrate a professional hit? that's when investigators discovered something that would make this case go from local news to national headlines. Remember that PPP loan money I mentioned? The $10,000 that killer was counting. Yeah. The paper trail was about to expose everything. The first thing investigators did? They pulled phone records. And baby, when I tell you these criminals were dumb. February 11th, 2021. Jasmine's on a recorded jail call with Kelly Nelson. Recorded! As in, the part where they tell you this call is being monitored. She really said, and I quote, "I'm ready to go kill this hoe. She has to die. On a jail call." The same day, a text pops up. Someone named Javon Carter messaging Jasmine. Now who's Javon Carter? Just a man who got out of prison on Christmas Eve, 2020, after serving 6 years for burglary and firearms charges. 4 months out of prison. That's all it took for him to get back in the murder business. But here's where it gets good. You'll remember in April, when the government was still throwing PPP money at anyone with a pulse and a business name. Jasmine saw an opportunity. April 20th, 11 days after Lashanti's testimony, $15,000 hits her account for her beauty salon, her single-employee beauty salon. Now I've known some hairstylists who make bank, but $15,000 for one person. During a pandemic when most salons were barely surviving. The math wasn't mathing, but apparently the government didn't care. Within days, she's at the ATM not withdrawing a few hundred for supplies, not paying rent. She pulls $10,000 in cash. Who needs $10,000 in cash for a beauty salon? What? Was she buying weave from the cartel? This is where our story gets a whole new character. Romuald Robinson, Jasmine's current boyfriend. And if you thought Kelly Nelson's rap sheet was bad, Robinson had just finished an 11-year stretch for armed robbery. Got out October 2020. So we got Jasmine with her beauty salon, Robinson fresh out of prison, and Javon, who's been free for 4 months. A whole crew of people who clearly didn't learn their lesson the first time. April 20th, the same day that PPP money hits. Robinson calls Javon, but they're not stupid enough to say, "Hey, want to kill someone for money?" No, they talk in code. Robinson asks about getting a jersey with the number 10. Javon says that usually costs $20 to $25. They negotiate. They settle on $10,000. A woman's life reduced to sports merchandise. But wait, it gets worse. Between the PPP loan and the murder, Javon and Jasmine had 127 phone conversations. 127 times. Some of y'all don't even call your mama that much. And these two are planning a murder like they're organizing a birthday party. April 30th and May 1st. Javon's phone pings at Lashanti's apartment complex. He's doing surveillance, learning her schedule, watching where she parks, where she walks with her baby. A professional hit, funded by your tax dollars. May 3rd, 2021. Hours after Lashanti's body went cold, while her baby was in the hospital with bullet fragments, while her mother was identifying her body, Javon Carter sat in his car, pulled out his phone, and filmed himself, counting money, fanning it out like he just won at the casino. And he said, I kid you not,
Another day in the office.
another day at the office. Like murdering mothers is his 9 to 5. Like traumatizing toddlers is just part of the job description. But here's what kills me. And I mean, this literally makes my head hurt. He filmed it. He created evidence. He basically made a confession video and saved it on his phone. The same phone that had all those calls with Jasmine. The same phone that pinged at the murder scene. The same phone that would lead police right to his door. Criminal mastermind. More like criminal masterdom. Somebody saw something. Somebody knew something. And somebody picked up the phone. An anonymous caller told police exactly who shot Lashanti. Gave them Javan's name. Probably someone from his circle who realized this had gone too far. Even criminals have limits, and killing a mother in front of her baby. That crossed a line. The investigation that followed was almost embarrassing in how easy it was. The phone records, the bank withdrawals, the surveillance footage, the literal video of the killer counting his payment. Robinson was already locked up on drug trafficking charges from December 2020. Yeah, he'd been arrested again 2 months after getting out of an 11-year sentence. This man couldn't stay free if his life depended on it. Javon got picked up in early February 2022. But Jasmine? She ran. Got all the way to St. Lucie County, about 2 hours north of Miami. Got pulled over on February 11th during a traffic stop near Fort Pierce. And when they arrested her, you know what investigators found? She had a 22-page rap sheet. 22 pages. Domestic violence, theft, selling firearms with altered serial numbers. This woman been terrorizing South Florida for years. The judge took one look at these three and said absolutely not. No bond. All three sitting in jail where they belong. First-degree murder. Conspiracy to commit murder. Attempted murder on a child. Witness tampering. PPP fraud. The federal government wants their money back. The state of Florida wants life sentences. And Lashanti's family, they just want justice.
Forget about me. It's not even about me. Think about the pain you caused my granddaughter to grow up motherless.
That 3-year-old, she's 6 now. Still asking questions about mommy. Still carrying fragments from bullets meant for someone whose only crime was telling the truth. And Jasmine? Sitting in a cell, probably wishing she'd just let that 2016 beef go. Imagine throwing your whole life away because you couldn't get over a man who moved on 5 years ago. Couldn't even keep the man you had after that. Now you got no man, no freedom, and no future. Was it worth it, sis? Was it really worth it? February 2022. The grand jury indictments come down, and these three actually had the nerve to plead not guilty. Not guilty? Sir, you filmed yourself with the money. Ma'am, you're on recorded jail calls planning the hit. The delusion was delusing. Their lawyers tried it though. Martinez's attorney claimed she had nothing to do with it. Said she was just a small business owner trying to survive the pandemic. Meanwhile, the FBI had her bank records showing she withdrew the exact amount Javon was counting in his little music video. Robinson's lawyer said his client was already in custody during the murder, which was technically true. He was locked up for drug trafficking. But they forgot about these little things called phones. You can plan murders from jail, apparently. Who knew? But the real kicker was when Martinez tried to get bond in May 2022. Her lawyer stood up in court and argued she wasn't a flight risk. The same woman who ran 2 hours north when she knew police were coming. The judge looked at her 22-page rap sheet and said what we were all thinking. Absolutely not. Y'all remember Lashanti worked for TSA? Her co-workers at Miami International didn't forget. Dan Ronan, the federal security director, released a statement that hit different. We lost a young, vibrant officer who was taken away from her family and away from us way too soon. Think about that. Every day, her co-workers had to walk past her empty station. every shift change, someone missing. These are the people checking our bags, keeping flights safe, and they're doing it knowing one of their own got murdered just for doing the right thing. The TSA family showed up. They fundraised for Elijah. They attended every court hearing. They made sure Lashanti wasn't just another statistic. As I'm telling you this story, all three are still sitting in Miami-Dade facilities. No trial date set yet because the court system is backed up. Surprise, surprise. Jasmine's beauty salon? Closed. Obviously. Turns out you can't run a business from jail, and fraud tends to hurt your Yelp reviews. That PPP loan? The feds want every penny back, plus interest, plus penalties. So even if by some miracle Jasmine gets out one day, she'll owe the government for the rest of her life. Poetic justice. Using government money to commit murder means the government owns you forever. And Javon's "Just Another Day at the Office" video, prosecutors are planning to play it at trial, in front of a jury. Can't you imagine being his lawyer trying to explain that away? But let's talk about what this really cost. Elijah is 6 years old now, first grade. Learning to read, write, probably asking her teachers why she doesn't have a mommy to help with homework like the other kids. Darlene Dukes, at an age when she should be enjoying being a grandmother, is raising her granddaughter alone, starting over, because 3 people decided Lashanti's life was worth less than their egos. And for what? Kelly Nelson is still in prison. Jasmine's facing life. Robinson's looking at dying behind bars. Javon will never see freedom again. 4 lives destroyed. 1 child orphaned, 1 mother buried. All because somebody couldn't let go of a 5-year-old grudge. This case should make you angry. Not just because of the murder, not just because of the PPP fraud, but because of what it represents. How many Jasmines are out there, holding grudges that'll end in graves? How many people got pandemic relief they didn't deserve while legitimate businesses folded? How many Lashantis are being threatened right now for having the audacity to tell the truth? Lashanti Jones did everything right. Worked hard, raised her baby, stood up to bullies, told the truth in court, and it got her killed. But here's the thing, her truth is still speaking. Every document in this case, every piece of evidence, every testimony she gave before she died, it's all there, making sure these 3 never walk free again. Jasmine thought she silenced Lashanti. Instead, she made her voice eternal. Because now we all know her story. We all know what happened. And we're not going to forget. Rest in peace, Lashanti. Your baby girl is going to grow up knowing her mama was brave. And to Jasmine, Robinson, and Javon, was it worth it? Actually, don't answer that. We already know.